Hey there, Sterile Processing Universe. I'm Brandon from Beyond Clean, and I want to welcome you to our first ever mailbag series video where you put us on the spot with your questions. If you've got a question that you want us to answer, there's a few ways you can send it our way. You can send us a message to Facebook or Instagram using the handle @BeyondCleanPodcast, or you can send us an email to info@beyondclean.net. If you want your question to be featured on a mailbag series video, make sure you type mailbag into the subject line of your email or into the body of the direct message on the social media platform. With all that said, let's get to this episode of Beyond Clean Mailbag.
All right, our next mailbag question is, can you please describe the basics of decontamination? Brandon, do you want to give a shot at this one?
Yeah, that is a loaded question. I can think of a lot of basics of decontamination, but if I was going to put it down to maybe like 4 or 5 items, I would probably go with point of use cleaning, number 1, because if you don't have that down, that kind of undermines the rest of it. Probably disassembling instruments. That seems to be a big issue I see in some facilities, not disassembling so we can get fully cleaned. Proper dosing of the detergent would be number 3 for me. And then let's see, probably brush size and type. So if you're trying to brush a 12 French lumen with a 7 French brush, you're not really doing anything. So that's an important one. And then I would say probably my last one would be critical water. So not only removing the bioburden and the detergents and enzymes, but also whatever is in the tap water itself. We want to remove those dissolved solutes and everything else. So that'd probably be my top 5.
I feel like we're going to have to bring Bob Mars on with us just to talk about critical water, because that brings up a whole nother point. So Mike or Lisa, do you have anything to add to that decontamination basics?
Well, I'll just throw in there that I feel like very frequently when people are asking this question, what's behind the question is we have too many sets making it to the OR that still have bioburden inside of them. And while decontamination obviously is a big portion of that, we also don't want to say everything is necessarily decontamination's fault. There are other pieces to this process as well that we have to keep in mind, like the point of use cleaning that Brandon mentioned, but then also inspection. Like, you can't assume that everything that comes out of decontamination is automatically just okay and good to go, doesn't require any inspection, just throw it in the set, throw it in the sterilizer, and now it's good to go. If anything, there's a problem, it's decontamination's fault, right? Like, that's not the way it's supposed to work. Like, inspection is there for inspecting, and that really is like the last guardian before it gets to the OR. So don't be so anxious to push everything just to decontamination, because if your techs don't have the equipment or the time to inspect, it's not just decontamination's fault. It could also be a fault on your prep and pack, and it could even be a fault, to Brandon's point, about point of use care as well.
What do you think, Lise?
I totally agree. I think too that oftentimes we do get desensitized in that work environment because it's part of our daily grind, and we hear so much talk about hand hygiene and about making sure we do thorough inspection and using the appropriate brush, that we forget about all the touch points and about cross-contamination risks. And so I think that if we keep ourselves vigilant to remain constantly aware of the state of our gloves and the state of our work environment, that goes a long way in the decontamination process.
All right. That's great. Well, I really appreciated this question. Thanks for all of you out there in the sterile processing universe who have been sending in your questions. And there is no question too basic, to the point that we threw out these answers here. So don't feel like if you send something random, we're going to say, no, that's not worth answering, because all of these do interconnect, just like Mike said earlier. And it's worth asking the question to get the answer, to think about the other questions maybe that you hadn't considered before that do impact decontamination, as we've talked about.
Here at Beyond Clean, we are privileged to bring you excellent sterile processing content every single week. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video, and hit that like button to let us know you appreciate the content. If you've thought of that question you want to send our way, here's the ways you can hit us up. Thanks for watching and spending time with us, and we'll catch you in the next video.